night of peeling space potato. Earth need you. Join the Space Marine, son. We will make a real fighter out of you in one Saturnian year.
Aliens landed on this island and infected Cell Matrix robots. Your mission to find and take aliens alive.
They say that we use a stupid name for our technique. It's a bullshit. It's a одуванчик walking robot.
You must help his dynamic scientists to collect materials for lab tests. And destroy aliens!
How's your duty going on, sir? Keep it up! Join us in future war. In PUBG Mobile.
Do you see an alien? No. Me too. But here it is.
Hello and welcome back to the Campus Series North America. My name is DK. With me is Span Cargo. We're going to be taking you through the action here today. Span, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. After last week, this week, gonna see some fresh people. Excited to see if they're gonna take any advice from the people who went last week, or if we're just gonna see, maybe we're gonna see the same thing.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting day to see what the teams are going to be doing. As you've mentioned there, we've got quite a few new teams joining us in, as the teams have, of course, been fighting out throughout the week to make it all the way up to here. But, of course, speaking about the fighting, speaking about the action, we need to take a look at the maps that we are going to be jumping up into today. We're going to be cycling through 3 of them to see the teams go at it. We're going to be starting off, of course, right on towards Miramar, moving from that up in towards a bit of that Erangel action, and then finally, of course, closing out the day all the way over on towards Sanhok. Now, Span, I'm expecting some absolutely fantastic stuff to come in here today, as we saw the teams last week bringing in quite a bit of action, actually fighting non-stop from the start of the match, and hoping that we see that continuing on once again today with the new teams coming in.
Exactly. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're potentially going to see pretty much a lot of the same thing. I had to pose the question anyway, because, they already know the top 10 teams from last week going to go against the top 10 teams from this week. They kind of know what to expect already. So are they already going to take that knowledge and put it into the gameplay? I mean, we're finding out soon. We're already getting these cinematic shots from Miramar. So if you guys weren't sure what map we're starting off on, even though we just talked about it, this should hopefully give a little bit of a hint.
Yeah, just a slight indication of what it is to expect.
Just a bit.
Yeah, I gotta say, I really enjoy these cinematic shots. It really brings out quite a few of these really beautiful spots we've got over on towards Miramar. Now we're getting ready to jump straight up into the plane to see where that flight path is, and of course where our first initial zone is going to be forming. And we actually see 2 of the teams we had participating last week making it through the games in the week to make it up into this weekend's performances. So I've got some expectations to see what these teams are going to be bringing to the table, and if they'll be able to give an even stronger performance than what we saw come from them last week.
Yeah, I can't wait to see if they've kind of figured some things out. Maybe they'll be able to go on ahead and perform in this situation now. So we'll just have to wait and see, But there are a lot of different teams this time. So have they figured it out, or are they going to have to run into new issues with these different teams? We'll have to wait and see. Of course, these teams haven't gotten to see just yet, so it's going to be a new experience for all of us, honestly. And here we go on Miramar. The plane is about to move, and there it is all the way on the right. I gotta say, this is a very southern plane path.
Yeah, it is a very southern flight path, and it is going to be quite challenging for the teams that like to frequent a little bit further up on towards that northwestern side, for instance. And now you got to wait and see where, of course, these teams are going to be dropping down, where that first initial zone is going to be forming up, whether or not it's going to be complementing the flight path, or could it potentially be moving up into a very compromising position, adding to the level of complexity, the level of difficulty these teams will have to face to try and secure that winner chicken dinner. But as you've pointed out, of course, the top 10 teams from this week will be meeting up against the top 10 from last week. So there's some pretty high expectations, and there's also quite a bit at stake here.
There definitely is. I mean, first of all, the top 10, we already talked about it. They're going to be the ones that are going to go on ahead and move on and compete later on. So there is a lot at stake. If you want to go on ahead and continue in this tournament, you're going to have to go on ahead and perform today and day 2. So we'll have to wait and see. It looks like everybody kind of doesn't really want to stay towards that initial plane path or even go to the southern part of it, really. Everybody's really extending up to the north. El Azahar, Hacienda San Martin, a lot of teams trying to reach. We're almost done with the complete plane path, and it looks like our first zone is also going to reach as far north as possible. This is going to be a little interesting. A lot of those guys in the outskirts are going to have a long wraparound rotation ahead of them.
Yeah, it is going to be a very interesting rotation for them indeed. But already we have the action starting to unfold, as we can see the players here from the 4 going up against Desi Conquerors. Now, this is very similar to what we saw last week. The teams just touching down the moment their feet meet the ground, they jump into action, they come out swinging. And I got to say, this results into some pretty interesting and some pretty tough PUBG action here.
There you go, grabbing up a few more loots as the rest of the teammates are slowly descending on Actus. I'd be a little bit worried here. Dusty Conquers, I mean, you can see that he's the only one. I don't know where the rest of his teams are. And there we go, the nades coming in and the bullets. They've been spotted and now they're kind of trapped behind a singular low wall. So a little scary of a situation. Here we go, there's his teammate. Boss now making a run on over. Maybe he'll be able to run and save his teammate in time.
Yeah, it is going to be pretty tough there for Akdas to try and hold on, seeing that he's dropped a little bit further away from the rest of the team. But it does seem like the players there from the 4 are hopping right to it, getting straight up, looking to get a little bit aggressive, pushing forward on towards the players here from Destiny Conquerors. And who knows, maybe this could be the play in which we see Akdas getting sent right on away. But there's a lot of pressure actually coming in for Boss here as he's holding on just on the edge of that ridge line, just trying to see if he can get a good line of sight onto the players there from the 4. But of course, with that, Akdas has now resorted to trying to become one with the terrain.
Come one with the terrain. Yeah, you're right. Just gonna go on ahead and lay prone, start crawling forward. Doesn't want to be spotted just yet, and it looks like that fight is just gonna take a little bit of a pause while there being a little bit of sneaky snake underneath the grass there. But of course, back to Valdemar. We saw these teams go over here, and now it is just full on frenzy. Maverick. Oh, 2 of them are now down. One of them really, really low HP, and the other one having to kind of fend for themselves against this enemy team. Not looking too good, but maybe they'll be able to pick up at least one more this res before anything else happens. This is Team Supreme. This is one of the teams that we talked about here once again. Let's see if they're going to make it this week, and it looks like they're starting off strong. If they can take down Maverick, whoa, watch out, that is a shotgun. Don't want that close range.
Oh, yeah, I just looking to push on in, looking to get the shots in, but it's going to be pretty difficult as there is a bit of a wall in the way. I'm loving these strafing shots coming through, though, but with that, Maverick's taking quite a few casualties in the exchange. Up comes a beautiful shot now as Aya comes rushing in to that building, looking to push in, and it is going to be fairly easy pickings for the time being, but now Mafia, not Mafia, rather, the players there from Mavericks being put in a little bit of a compromising position. Now we see the players here from the 4 actually having the tables potentially turned towards them as we see Akdas, of course, getting sent away. But now up comes Boss, Hitman, the rest of the team coming in here from Desi Conquerors, looking to see if they could potentially decimate the 4, but it's going to be so tough, though.
Yeah, Boss goes down. He was completely out in the open up on top of that road, so he had nowhere to go, and instantly he's going to be taken down. We already knew that they lost a member earlier, being stuck, separated from the rest of the team. Kind of looks like Boss kind of did the same thing, and now Legend, it looks like he and his last teammate, Brar, they're going for it together at least, but they have to go ahead and take down the entirety of this next team. The res already happening over there on the eastern side, so if they don't find that while the res is happening, or at least go and take out the solo, it's not going to be good, especially now as I said that they're running together. That wasn't true. They're completely separated. This is making me a bit nervous.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one, especially now that the res has come through and the players there from the 4 are now up to a 3-man team. The pressure is going to be on as we can see them already getting ready to move a little bit further forward. Legend now just trying to hold up in towards the compound, but now as we can see, Sharan as well as Revenge are looking to push in and get their revenge, looking to get a clean wipe onto the players coming in here from Desi Conquerors.
There we go. Now 1v1v1. Oh, that is not what I was expecting. Wait a second. I was expecting them to get in the fight with the person right next to them, but no, Revenge. He's going to go on ahead and show off a little bit. Lay prone, get that knock with the ump, and now that means just one person left for Desi Conquerors, and then, of course, it's going to be Legend inside of this building. His name's Legend, though, so I feel like I have some high expectations right now as his teammate there gets flushed out. We'll have to wait and see if Legend can pull off a 1v3 versus the 4. That's
yeah,
no. The 4 is 3. Anyway.
No pressure whatsoever, though, for Legend, right? He is now having to live up to his name, seeing that he is getting pushed by that 3-man team of the 4. As you rightly pointed out, it just sounds quite funny to say that. But, you know, this is PUBG. This is high-stakes gameplay. The teams need to be on their top form. They need to be performing at their absolute best. And we'll now see a few more teams looking to venture a little bit forward, but up comes a little bit of a stalemate now as the players here from the 4 are looking to find the best entry point on towards Legend's position.
It's like Legend instantly gonna start utilizing the mollies. Doesn't even matter though, because it doesn't matter. Revenge is gonna go on ahead and toss a singular nade and take him out. Legend, I don't think he expected that whatsoever. That was very swift right at the end there, even though their entire fight was pretty long, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, and of course, as we jump over to the players here from Rave, we can see they've actually now taken quite a bit of a rotation. They've started out towards that Minas Generales kind of region and now moved all the way a little bit closer towards San Martin. But over on the western side, it is still going to be a pretty tough play for a lot of these teams. We can see a few teams actually now getting up close and personal. We have the players there from one of the HQA teams, as well as the players coming in from VTG, now looking to rotate up towards that El Pozo kind of position. And just a little bit further south of them, we've got two more teams also holding up. That is going to be Goalie Gaming, I believe, alongside yet another team. So some tough decisions to be made here.
I mean, we knew that all the teams on the edges, such as all the way down to the southwestern side, northeastern side, were going to go on ahead and make a big, wide rotation into the zone. And it looks like that southwestern side is really taking that seriously. But that just means a lot of teams are going to be rotating right next to each other, right in front, right in behind, all together, basically just in a line making these rotations. So I don't think these are going to be safe for all of the teams. There has to be one that runs into each other eventually. I mean, you could see some of them looking over their shoulders and teams right there in the distance. So we'll have to see. If they kind of like wait and split themselves up enough, it should be fine. But I'm kind of not expecting that to happen.
Yeah, only time will tell where these teams are going to be going and if they're going to be experiencing any of those glitches along the way. I like to see the name there, Villain. I mean, he's sitting in the right seat to have that name, as you can see the players here from AIM Esports now trying to get themselves all the way back up into a strong position in the zone itself as they are rotating in from that southern side. But I'm curious to see though where this next zone shift is going to be taking the team. Seeing that we've got about just over a minute remaining on the clock, we did see already a few teams in pretty close proximity, but this is Murmur. The teams can afford to take a little bit more time to get into stronger positions as they have a lot more of the terrain to utilize.
You're right. I mean, this is also the point where you should start using, start using these positions just like as you said. Start getting the really good spots, set yourself up for a little bit later in the game. We can see some guys going for the tops of these mountains. There you go, switch out some vehicles because you don't want ones that are about to pop. And getting towards the center, those two teams, that pink and gray team right smack in the center right now, they're going to be setting themselves up for the long run. And everybody else, a little bit nervous.
I gotta say though, these orange shifts are making it so difficult for the teams already. The first one starting off in the north, you can see that outline of where the zone was, and now it has shifted up once again, centering up quite nicely up towards that kind of water treatment. We've got the oasis also in play, which is something we don't see happening too often. So definitely the teams are being put to the test, seeing as the zone has rotated up so far on towards the north, and it seems to be staying there.
It does. I'm curious to see if it's going to continue to go north or if it's going to stick around this more southern side. It's hard to tell. Obviously, we do not know just yet. My kind of guess is it might stay down below where that center gray team is, but we'll have to wait and see, because if it does go up to the northern side, there are a lot of hills with not, like, there's ridges, but there's not too many. It's a lot of more steep, sheer cliff ridges, and that's a really hard area to play off of. Down here, there's a lot more bowls. It's not sheer. There's some compounds. It'll be a little bit easier for more people to play inside of. So if it goes north, it's going to be a little bit worrisome on who's going to be able to come out on the other side of it.
Yeah, and of course, what's also quite difficult is looking at this position up in towards La Cobreria. It is, again, a bit of a city position, and we've seen the city being quite a difficult spot to be fighting in, but so far it seems like no one are having it fairly easy. They are able to find the angles on towards VTG, as we can see just up ahead, finding their way in with that first knock, but now it is going to be down to them to try and push and get those aggressive plays working out for them. And already we can see Zohan just sending out all the utilities he's pretty much got in his bag, trying to find those plays on towards them.
There you go. We saw he did like 26 damage to somebody on the other side of the road, but unfortunately not enough to go on ahead and get the knock. VTG gonna survive for now. The vehicle's safe as well, so they could literally just drive away from this if they don't want to be involved in this anymore. And I have a feeling that's exactly what they're going to be doing. Yeah. They're just driving away at this point. They don't like anybody inside of Cobb chucking some util at them. So they're just going to get out of here. Zohan, though, not going to stop him whatsoever from taking at least some shots towards the last two stragglers inside of the very last vehicle. But again, can't see too much, and that's about it. Especially now as they start driving towards HQA Thirst, though. They're just, I think two of them are driving to the east, and the other two are like driving to the west. So that's kind of confusing.
Yeah, but I mean, it seems like they're trying everything they can to avoid the pressure coming in here from HQA Thurston. I mean, I've got some pretty high expectations coming in for Zohan there from Tell No One. As you know, the saying goes, don't mess with the Zohan. So I'm going to look to see whether or not he's going to be living up to that name, living up to that reputation, and hopefully he chose it for good reason. But of course, we see a quick reposition now coming in from the players there of VTG as they've now partially abandoned that rotation, just sticking to the southern side of La Copreria. But this time now they are resorting to the compounds, looking to get into the hard cover, and potentially that could be a little bit of a saving grace for them.
Potentially could. We gotta go on ahead and wait and see if they're gonna be able to get to those positions and what everybody else is going to do, because very shortly this play area is gonna be restricting. We can see that now in that mini map. It's gonna go on ahead and do so. HQA Thirst still up on top of these mountains, spread out all the way on the edges of these plateaus. It's like a good spot to be because you can see everything. As you can see, Leo taking some shots towards the vehicle making rotation, but also you are out in the open. If anybody was to try to crash or stop on you, take shots from long range, like, I wouldn't want to be here.
Yeah, it is going to be... it is going to be quite a difficult spot to get out of already. Now we can see the players there from HQA Club coming under fire as Yuwong. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. I'm trying to get knocked right on down. Lucy coming in with some beautiful hits from the No Mercy side. And again, this is going to be quite the favorable position coming in now for No Mercy as they have control and possession of the compounds. And we see so many teams actually holding up in the vicinity. And this is almost a smack dab center position for them.
It's not too shabby whatsoever. So the edge of Cobb is still inside of this, though. I have a feeling a lot of teams are just going to start sending it into the city as a place for refuge while these next couple of zones go, because there's a lot of places to play out of, a lot of hard cover. Meanwhile, all the rest of the edges, it's just going to have a couple more teams outside there. It's not going to be too good if the zone pulls off of Cobb, and it's just going to result in chaos in the city. We'll have to wait and see, though. That's kind of like the next zone situation, but all I have to say is it does seem like there's still a greater concentration on that side of the map.
Yeah, and I mean, it's only going to continue to get more difficult as these teams progress further forward, because we still have 15 teams remaining, and there's only one team that has been reduced down to only one player. The rest of the teams are either sitting with 2 players or even more on board. So this is going to be a very tricky position. We're running out of space. We're running out of time as that blue zone is, of course, making its way on in. We are going to be jumping into that 4th phase. But now we see the players here from No Mercy coming under fire once again as Sunny is just looking to tap away a few steady shots over on towards No Mercy.
Yeah, and it looks like Cuff can't stay inside this zone anymore. All these people that are trying to play in the city, they're getting evacuated. They gotta go on ahead and move, back down to the southern side. All these north shifts, this south shift is kind of a little bit jarring, I feel like, for the majority of people now playing this match, but that's of course not gonna stop each other, especially No Mercy. Bunny taking a look around and trying to spot out some enemies. Ooh, it's kind of gonna stop Rushel though. Game Changers, he's kind of in a little bit of a bad situation. His vehicle's getting shot up and he needs to lay prone and heal, otherwise he could be taken out.
Yeah, I think the zone shift is quite healthy for these teams as we've now made it up into that 4th phase, about to jump into the 5th phase, and we still have 45 players remaining, and the game now looking to do its thing, forcing these players together. We can see, of course, just up ahead, we have even more teams looking to rush up into the zone itself. That, of course, is the players there from Team Chanekes, I guess that's how you say it, up ahead, trying to find their way back in. And, of course, we have now the players here from HQA Club positioned on that northern edge of the zone, looking to set up a bit of a gatekeep as there's still so many teams having to roll into zone.
have to wait and see. Also, I keep thinking HQA Club? Or is HQA Thirst better? No, I'm just kidding. Well, we'll have to wait and see. It's like the battle of the HQAs. Kind of want to see that fight later on. But meanwhile, it looks like Thirst is, in fact, being thirsted, actually, the down and the flush out. That means Leo is going to grab a buggy and try to get out of there. Doesn't want to take that fight any longer. It's just going to go further inside the zone as well. And, oh, I even think up on top of the rock. So that might be a safe position for a solo. Everybody else, though, obviously going to be trying to move for a little bit more of an advantageous situation for the long run.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at this region that the zone has centered up into, this is going to be a very mountainous fight, as we can see already. Lucy coming in with a shot straight down on towards VTG as they're looking to regain a bit of a footing in the zone. Spring and Creeper now looking to find their way around, but the same can, of course, be said for the rest of the team coming in here for No Mercy. As you can see, Buddy just looking to hop around on the rocks, trying to see if he can find that entry point, find that angle on towards the players here from VTG up ahead.
Taking a little bit slower there. Up, it looks like the 4 is going to be eliminated. No Mercy still taking a little bit of a look around. A bunch of people still surrounding them at this point. It looks like this is just going to be a big bull ending, which are always a little bit exciting because it's difficult to go on ahead and find yourself to get down onto this big road, and the people to get on this road, you can't get back out. So it's going to be a little bit of an interesting dynamic. I hope everybody kind of like saves some vehicles or some mode of transportation to be able to move around in this one. Otherwise, if you have to go on foot, it's not going to be a pretty day.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a tough spot. Looking at these angles, a lot of the teams are looking to move up into. With that, of course, Villain gets knocked right on down, as AIM is playing in a little bit of an exposed position up on it towards the north. They've got another team just behind them. And as we look over on towards that western side, we can see the players here from Goalie Gaming, of course, looking to push all the way out of the crater fields. But this bowl position is going to be such a difficult angle to really secure safely and get a play from out of here back in towards the zones. We can already see there's so many teams lined up on those ridges, and I'm afraid that this could be potentially a very trying position for them.
And it doesn't create time to wait and see, though. Over here on this western side, so many teams, 3 teams outside of zone and 2 more just on the inside of zone. This one's going to be a little bit insane, I gotta say. Don't really know who's going to come out on top, but Boost Generation Z is definitely going to find themselves the next team eliminated. 12 left, though. And now that hometown has spotted out goalie down below, they're definitely going to start prioritizing that angle, because that is 4 juicy points down there that they just have to hold out and wait to come closer to take.
Yeah, and with that, of course, the players from HQA first find their way back up into the lobby. With this now, Jagger is going to be continuing to come in with that spray down, looking to stop the players there from Goalie Gaming to find their way in. Already 3 players down now. All of their fates are riding on the play for Leo. But fortunately for them, Leo is able to find an angle, utilizing the terrain, utilizing those covers, and now it's all going to be up to Leo to try and find that approach and that secure position back up in towards the zone.
There we go. Nice usage of a buggy, trying to get up the side of this mountain as fast as possible, because otherwise it takes forever with how sheer the mountainside was. Getting shot in the back, though, they ended up leaving 1 person down there, and that means that they can't use any sort of stuns. They can only really use smokes for some sort of util. It's really difficult when somebody's just really far away, you're completely out in the open, and they could just take a lot of shots in your direction.
Yeah, it is definitely quite a difficult one to be playing. But, of course, Bright is going to try and find those angles on towards a horse. MIT, you can see just positioned down the hill. But, I mean, this is also a very difficult position now for Horse to try and play, because he still needs to try and get up in towards zone. And, of course, HQA Club is being pressurized from that southern position, as the team behind them does have the height advantage. That, of course, is going to be the players coming in from No Mercy. But No Mercy are showing no mercy, as they've already been able to find 10 kills so far.
Yep, 10 kills so far, absolutely insane, and they have a little bit more to go, especially now with HQA right below them. No, so Pig goes down. Aurora now the last one alive, and it looks like Lucifer is starting to prep some more utility. Already sent a lot of Molotovs in that direction, but it looks like they're just going to go ahead and back up a little tiny bit for right now. as the zone, of course, has moved. They might just make a rotation over there and then wait for the enemy to continue to make a rotation towards them. At this point, though, there are still a lot of people inside of the zone. Look, 2 solos up ahead, a duo. Oh, is that 3 solos up ahead? That's pretty insane. Just so many teams that end up being broken up for the majority of this game that now we only have a couple of teams with actual members left.
Yeah, and we can see the teams now just looking to secure themselves up in and towards the zone. No Mercy now looking to descend the hilltop, inching their way up towards the zone itself. But I mean, if we look down towards the south and even just down the hill, it is still going to be an absolute insane fight for a lot of these teams, as they have quite a bit of an uphill battle ahead of them. Of course, we see the players here from Fortune Esports, Ghost getting knocked right on down, and it all comes to Bean to try and bring that final play, but he is secured within the zone, hiding within that little shack. And now we are down to our final 8 teams. Of course, the shots are continuing to fly, and with that, Stop Big gets taken right on down alongside the rest of the players here from HQA
Ooh.
Club. And oh yeah, indeed, another hit coming in as Goldie Gaming goes down as well.
Bully Gaming did not want that to happen, but here we go. All these people down on the southern side are really starting to take advantage of this. We thought that people up on top of the mountain were going to have a pretty good time, but now they're actually just the target for everybody else. So Hometown is also going to be eliminated. We can see a lot of teams now scrambling down there, except No Mercy. No Mercy has been up here the entire time, taking on a ton of fights, and that's why they have 12. 3 other teams are left other than them, though, and they have to continue to play this carefully because of how many team members are still alive for one of these teams. So there's still a 4-man.
I mean, that is definitely a really good role for the players there. And I mean, maybe they'll be able to clutch this game out. So far, of course, Zohan has not disappointed just yet. But with that, Lucifer spoils it all, blows up the vehicle, and sends Zohan packing. We are down to our final 3 teams. It's going to be No Mercy. It is going to be the players from Fortune Esports, as well as Mendez and the rest of the team. And that is, of course, the 4-man team that you've pointed out.
Yep, there we go. Now starting to take it a tiny bit slower, healing on up before they go ahead and start making the next push. They're down below, and there's no point in really trying to trudge up the side of this hill just yet until this next zone's going to go on ahead and pop and reveal itself. There we go. Nice aerial shot just to see how far everybody is and really get an idea of how the terrain is. Of course, our team all the way at the top, or at the very top of the mountain, then all the way down below, we have, of course, the shack that our solos in and the rest of the terrain with a tiny, itty-bitty little ridge. It also looks like there's a care package in the center, which is I'd go for that instantly. Got a little piece of candy.
Yeah, but that could potentially be a very lethal piece of candy. It might be nice, but I think it is going to be quite deadly. But it seems like No Mercy are going to be inching their way even closer towards that, just looking to set themselves up beautifully on towards this northwestern side. But now the pressure is on. I mean, No Mercy already sitting on 13 kills. How many more will they be able to find as they now go up against only 2 opposing teams?
You know, they could get the entire 4-man and the solo left. I mean, we'll have to wait and see, you know? But that means that, I have a feeling that means that they're going to have to get the first knock onto the entire 4-man. That solo's going to have to get involved and get a knock onto the 4-man. And then that's when they're really going to be able to make a move and wipe everybody else out. However, it looks like Kazoka, I don't know if I pronounced that right, you got a knock instead, so they're going to start the push. That was not a good one for the enemy team to go ahead and receive. They did not need their lives. This could potentially ruin their game.
Oh, yes, indeed. It does ruin the game for the players there of No Mercy. And now it is going to be a 1v4 showdown to see who's going to be claiming that winner chicken dinner. And with that, of course, it is a no contest, as Bean gets sent right away. But what an absolutely amazing performance this was. What a comeback that was. Finishing strong on 11 kills and nearly 1,500 damage.
We didn't really end up seeing this team all too much, especially early on, and then we did start paying attention to them after a little while, but really didn't end up popping up until the very end. And I mean, some teams, they need to go ahead and think that way. Sometimes teams really do pop up really in the last couple of fights, and all they have to focus on is staying alive until then.
Yeah, I did say I was having some hopes coming in for the players here from No Mercy, seeing that they were already building up such a good amount of momentum, but we have already seen them play. No, sorry, it wasn't them. But you know, what a good way it is, though. Just building up the momentum coming in from this first match, and I'm curious to see whether or not we're going to have that continue through the remainder of the day. Seeing that we still have 2 maps up, and next up we're going to be moving on towards that Erangel for the teams to get into that bread and butter of PUBG. But definitely a really good start to the day once again, and it is once more very close to the kind of performance we had just in last week. Coming in from that first week, the teams look to be quite aggressive already.
I agree. Everybody was already pretty aggressive coming into it, especially when it came to hot drops. Everybody had the spots that they wanted, so there's just a load of hot drops the entire time. Everybody just pushing everybody, and I mean, that is a strategy to go on ahead and play. But of course, you know, the most consistent is to stay alive for as long as possible and get as many kills as possible. But right now, it seems like a lot of people like to go for the kills. I think even in this match itself, we saw a couple of people going for some unnecessary pushes or kills than what they really had to do, but it's a fun learning experience as well, and maybe they won't make that same mistake next time.
Yeah, only time will tell whether or not that is going to be the situation. But of course, we are going to be looking to get into our match breakdown to see where the points are, how many points these teams were able to acquire, and then of course who our MVPs are, and looking at all of those stats. But of course, we are going to be starting over on our leaderboard. So let's jump into the leaderboard to see where the teams find themselves after just this first match.
There we go. Drum roll, please. We got our team that won the chicken dinner. Got all the points in the world at the top. Team Chinekes with 26 points. Then No Mercy coming in second with 23. We know that they got a lot of kills in that match. Fortune Esports with 14. Tell No One 11. Rave Esports with 10. And then a lot of 5s all the way down to 0, starting in 6th place. So kind of a little bit of a lip from 5 to 6, and I mean, just starting all the way up from No Mercy to Fortune Esports 2nd to 3rd.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting result, but I'm quite curious to see as we move into our next match whether or not we're going to be seeing the teams sitting from 7th place onwards. In fact, actually from 6th place onwards, whether or not we're going to have them looking to step it up, bring in that extra bit of gameplay, as we saw coming in last week, as we had that complete turnaround moving in to that second match. But definitely got to give it up to the players there from No Mercy, as well as Team the Chinekes, I guess, as well as Fortune Esports. And then, of course, also Tell No One and Rafe already finishing on those double digits. And that is a good way to set a good anchor point, a good foundation at the start of the day. And who knows, maybe that is a trend we'll see continue not only in today's matches, but also continuing into tomorrow's.
We'll have to wait and see. We still have a couple more games left, so we'll see how these players will be able to go on ahead and use their skills on these different maps. This one I think was pretty good based off of where the circle ended up going, but Erangel, Sanhok, completely different, and we'll end up seeing how they're going to be able to perform on those. The aggression, I feel like, is definitely going to go on ahead and show on Sanhok, but you see, I said that week 1 and then I felt like it was the most calm, so maybe now that's a little bit of the opposite. Maybe it'll be the opposite this time.
Yeah, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But of course, we have to look at who our MVPs are for this past match. So first up, we're going to be jumping straight up in towards our team MVP. And with no surprise, it is going to be the players there from No Mercy who will be taking the title, coming in with a very strong amount of damage. We can see, of course, just over 2,000 damage dealt with 4 assists. And of course, those 13 kills. But again, as we look at the MVPs, we don't see any of those grenade kills come in just yet. We know last week, Span, you made the request saying that you want to see more of those eliminations come through from the grenades. And, well, the teams delivered. So hopefully we'll have that happen once again as we continue on with our second week.
Yep, I will always ask for more utility. You can never have enough util. So yeah, we're waiting for the nades to turn from a 0 into something else. We'll just have to wait and see. No Mercy, though, still being able to pull off that much damage and kills in a singular game is pretty astounding. I mean, 2,025 to 13 kills. I mean, that's a pretty good conversion rate.
Yeah, definitely is quite an impressive conversion rate. But I mean, this is just the first match. As we look now to get a bit of a comparison, our team taking the winner chicken dinner, coming in there as the players there from Team Chenekes and, well, No Mercy, first and second place. This is how they've measured up against each other. But if we look at the amount of damage towards the amount of kills being brought in, it does seem like the players there from Team Chenekes they've also been able to get a pretty good ratio.
Yeah, they also have an insane conversion. I mean, 1,500 to 11 kills. It seems like they're a tiny bit more efficient. Maybe they're able to go on ahead and yoink some kills from some other people, or they at least are able to start the fight and finish them pretty quickly. No Mercy probably just going on ahead and doing a little bit more damage from long range. Can't completely shut down fights, and that's why their damage is a lot higher. And they do have more kills, just that ratio there is a little bit different.
But of course, the teams are still going to be having 2 more maps to try and iron out any of the kinks they might have experienced in this first match. I'm going to say I'm quite excited to see what the teams are going to be bringing as we go forward in the day, moving up in towards Erangel. Now, based on what we've seen, I'm hoping to see aggression right out of the gate once again. But as you said, also, the main idea is going to be to try and survive to the very end, but also do that with really strong numbers. And of course, without much further ado, we are going to be jumping in to our break. So be sure to stay tuned, and we'll see you right back in a short few minutes.
is where we all came from. The dreams we had, the love we shared. This is what we're waiting for. In my mind, in my head, this is where we all came from. In my mind, in my head, this is where we all came from.
Hello and welcome back to the Campus Series North America. My name is DK. With me is Span Cargo. I almost forgot my name there, Span. Can you believe it?
I heard that, so yes. But luckily, hopefully you do not forget that we're about to go into the second game of NA Campus Series, and I'm looking forward to it because it is on my favorite map, and that is, of course, Erangel. I want to see which team is going to go ahead and be capable on this one instead of the deserts of Miramar, instead of the jungles of Sanhok.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's quite interesting starting it over on it towards Miramar. You know, it is a bit of a change up. Usually we see a little bit more of Erangel being up first, but of course, here we have our maps of the day. We've already completed Miramar. We are heading over towards Erangel, and we'll follow that up with a healthy dose of a bit of Sanhok. We gotta get into that jungle action to see what the teams will be bringing in their close quarter combats. Now, Span, as we're getting ready to move into this match, right, where are you hoping to see that flight path?
Ooh, I mean, I personally am always a fan of pretty nice plane paths, like straight down the main body of Erangel, because in my opinion, that means people will be able to spread out more and get the loot that they want. And hear me out, that might be boring to people, but at the beginning, yeah, that's going to be a little bit more boring, but that means as the game goes on, people start running into each other, everybody's going to have the loot that they want, and there's going to be a way more full teams with all 4 up, and that means it's going to be a lot harder. So I feel like that level of competition is just increased once if the plane path is a little bit friendlier than the really push to the side ones.
Well,
Nice.
Yeah, ask and you shall receive. I mean, it's not too often that we get that coming in from the PUBG gods, but they listen to us, and yeah, smack that beautiful zone coming in. We also have our kill leaders. We can see over on towards that left-hand side. Lucy leading they're sitting on 6 kills, 731 damage. And of course, we got Azog in there as well as COVID-21. That is the upgraded version. We've got Khan as well as Seth also represented. So a good balance of the teams with the players there from No Mercy, of course, having 3 of their players up there after that first crazy match we've already seen. And now it is down to the teams to find themselves moving into the strong position. I think this is going to be a little bit of a kind of repeat of what we had in week 1, where the teams, they've been playing throughout the week, but again, they are not 100% sure of where the opposing teams are going to be dropping. So we could maybe run into a few problems here.
I think what we already see, at least 2, both pink teams and green teams are kind of going for each other. They're all the way down there on the southern side, both Primorsk and military base. I mean, luckily one of them could easily just go ahead and pull off to Quarry or Ferry Pier over there further to the west, but to the east, I mean, there's really only one military base unless they decide to start looting all those buildings to the northern road. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Then of course a big gap, a ton of people over farm right now is insane.
Yeah, that is something we definitely do not see all too often. So I think farm is going to be an absolute bloodfest as soon as all these teams start touching down. And I'm curious to see where these teams are going to be rotating, because we've got that whole western portion of the map being completely open for the taking. If we look towards Gatka, Quarry, Chompsticks, that whole region is there lying and waiting. And surprisingly, we haven't seen anyone actually drop down in towards Pachinki.
Nope, looks like everybody decided that was a little bit too scary of a space. Maybe everybody assumed that Pachinki was going to be hot, so they were just like, I'm going to trick them and go somewhere else. But when everybody does that, that obviously doesn't work in the way that they intend. So yeah, Farm, Yasnaya, I don't even know what's happening over there to the eastern side of Georgia Pool over there with a ton of teams. But we're definitely going to be zooming right on into Farm, and it looks like our current first place team is splits enough to go ahead and grab the vehicles from Farm, but otherwise safe. They're actually getting away from here.
Yeah, no, this is quite funny because you were asking for a decent flight path so the teams have that opportunity to spread out, right? I don't think they heard that part, right? So I think it kind of stopped at the flight path because we see all these teams now just converging. But as we see up towards the north, we do have a little bit of that breakaway happening now as the teams are spreading out, looking to just disperse themselves even more across the map. And also the pressure up into Chesnaya is still going to be there, but Farm also now really dissolving quite a bit.
Everybody, a lot of people just running on foot. They have a singular weapon. I mean, at least they'll be able to defend themselves a little bit if anybody were to drive by. But at this point, it seems like everybody has almost delayed Everybody's delayed each other, so that means getting inside of this first zone probably won't happen for a while, except for those teams that were blissfully alone. So like those teams over there by Quarry will be able to get loot and then start moving first. Everybody else, it's going to take a bit, especially as we're seeing teams right now actually drive away from where the current circle is.
Yeah, and if only we saw them take those rotations back into the zone, heading over towards that western side. I think, well, you know, things could maybe turn out completely different. But for the time being, it is what it is. But and strangely enough, we actually see the players there from VTG looking to push even a little bit closer up in towards Primorsk, and of course up in towards Yasnaya. We got the players here from the Game Changers now looking to apply their own bit of pressure as they get ready to move straight on through. We got the Mavericks right up ahead of them, and it is going to be a fight for control of Yasnaya.
Yeah, and right now, Coldy, though, he has a lot of people near him. A lot of his teammates aren't anywhere near, so he's going to have to play this real carefully, especially if Beast is prepping a nade like that. That was almost absolutely horrible for Coldy. But Beast, I thought he was going to go for it. It looks like he's going to take it a little bit more patient as he's waiting for his teammate to be picked up, and then they're going to be aggressive. Hopefully, by then, the rest of the Game Changers will be close enough to help Coldy out, but for right now, it's just himself, and we can see them slowly coming on over in that minimap.
Yeah, and it's already going to be quite difficult now for the players here from the Mavericks, seeing that they've only started out this match with a 3-man team, and they are going up against the full squad of the Game Changers. But who knows, maybe it could change. But looking at the result already there from Russell getting the first knocker through, it is going to be quite the challenge, as Beast is now the last remaining hopeful.
Okay, now, once again, kind of waiting patiently. They ended up getting a lot of knocks. I'm surprised they're not being a little bit more aggressive on this, I'm not gonna lie. There we go. Because of that, they're able to pick up at least one so far, but now Coldy's ready. They're just like, okay, take a deep breath, now go. But it looks like they're not going to push in violently just yet. They don't know which room that the enemy is inside of. They're not on that first row, though. They are in the second. So they need to just get grouped together and start clearing these rooms, if I do say so myself. So they can't get any more reses. Just take down Beast, take down Gem, and hold them out. And then they can continue to focus on what they need to be focusing on, which is rotating, if I do say so myself. There we go. The nade won't do anything. Yes, actually, there we go. Beast goes down. Now push. Come on, Game Changers. You can do it.
Yeah, the Raider and the rest of the players here from Game Changers now getting quite aggressive as they make their way up onto the first floor. Gets the first knock now, the follow-up hit, but of course the Game Changers are looking to clear it out. Will they get it with that? Oh, they find the finishing blow and send the Mavericks right back into the lobby.
Yeah, Mavericks are out. Game Changers take Yasnaya. The other team that was in Yasnaya decided to not bother them during their altercation. We can see the other two closest teams are over there on the eastern side, still not moving in towards the zone just yet, but that means that now Game Changers can still go ahead and start making that move. So a lot of teams not inside of this zone just yet, but because they're waiting, take a look at that. This entire side of where Pachinki is completely open. The very center of the map already filled by the teams that are a little bit closer, so it's just as a matter of backfilling at this point.
Speaking about backfilling, the players here from Supreme will have to watch their backs. We can see the team from AIM holding just on the opposite end of the hill. Both of them, of course, going at each other, trying to see if they can get the shots through. Sam does get picked up in the process, but now the CQT trying to wrap around all the way behind players there from AIM Esports. It is going to be a difficult position to hold, but of course, Villain, he is right there up alongside them, so who knows, maybe there'll be a few interesting twists to find their way on through. But I gotta say, I'm liking the approach coming in here from Team Supreme.
I mean, they're literally dividing and conquering in a way. They're literally spreading out so much that AIM Esports has no idea where to look, and that's obviously causing problems for them. They just need to go on ahead and choose a direction to start being aggressive towards, and then they'll start slowly being able to pick off each Supreme member one by one. It's kind of working. Twisted Cyber, the only two left up for Supreme now. Let's see if Twisted's nade is going to do something, though, as he's trying to go on ahead and go for the res on the teammate, and not quite. So it's kind of looks like they're kind of messing each other up at this point. Both of these teams are not in a pretty position.
Yeah, it is quite trying for both of these teams, but of course, AIM is going to try and get their fallen teammates up, as we can see Fate now trying to get that res on towards Villain. The same can be said over in towards the Supreme camp. We're going to be seeing those numbers come back up to a 3v3 as Sam has already been sent away. But a really interesting position actually coming through now for the players here, as they are quite separate. Actually, Team Supreme is still riding on a full squad. Their fourth player now stepping up, looking to join the party, but up comes Twisted, trying to get the spray down through, and with that, they find another confirmed Villain. Now just up ahead, super low on health. Will this be finishing blow coming in from them at the hand of Team Supreme?
Oh, it looks like not for Twisted. Twisted's gonna fall Villain now. Trying to go ahead and take a look at that other one. It looks like one will go down, and no way, Villain actually goes ahead and gets all of them. Team Supreme is eliminated.
Yeah, that makes 100% sense why Villain is called Villain. He just clutched the heck out of that one, sending the whole squad there of Supreme back up into the lobby. But of course, now looking at the positions coming into the zone, you see some interesting rotations. The team's already moving in towards that Gatka region, but now, no mercy, they've been positioned over on towards that Sosnovka military island. They're slowly heading up towards that western bridge, but up ahead, we do see the players there from Team AIM, now fairly close to the bridge. I'm curious to see how No Mercy is going to try and cross over on towards that main island.
Time to wait and see. You're right. I mean, they're not entirely holding that bridge at all just yet, so I don't think they would either, especially after they were just hurt so much. So I think all the military base people should be able to make it across very safely. It's just, I'd be a little bit scared for AIM if they stay there since they're so hurt. And if a full four-man team crosses the bridge, they might be interested in taking that position to look a little bit further inside of this zone. Speaking of this zone, everybody once again is pretty much on top of each other, smack dab in the very center. I guess they all want to really increase their chances of getting in this next shift.
Yep, it is going to be a little bit of a hustle up in the zone itself, as we can see a nice concentration of teams already moving in. But now, the players here from BU Generation Z, just positioned down in a little bit of a ball kind of play here. They do have, of course, quite a few compounds to make use of. But it's still going to be a fairly difficult position here for HQA first, trying to pick up the hits towards them. Who knows, maybe they'll be able to find those angles, but we also saw there's so many other teams positioned in this region, so they can't really be looking to play these angles all too long, as they could potentially get third-partied by yet another team moving in behind them.
Yeah, that is definitely a worry that I'd be keeping in mind. It looks like for right now, a couple of them definitely safely in areas where it wouldn't be too easy. Just a quick look over the shoulder. Hopefully they don't get too tunnel visioned on each other where they'll allow that to happen. You can see, oh man, I kind of want it to be a fight between the two HQAs, I'm not going to lie, but I guess I'll accept it if it's HQA Thirst going against BU Generation Z, so I'm just wait. We heard some shots go out, kind of giving them a little bit of warning shot. Don't come any closer. Just keep going away. But I don't know. This zone I think is a little bit big enough where nothing should quite happen for a bit.
Yeah, it does seem like they are going to be respecting those spaces for the time being. But of course, the players there from No Mercy, they've now made their rotation off of that Sosnovka Island. We can see them rotating alongside that southern edge, potentially heading over towards the west. So that could be a good rotation for them. But now the pressure comes down to the players here from HQA first. Are they going to look to stay in this compound, or are they going to be looking for that next potential position to be moving out into? Of course, the players here from the 4, they now again once more are down to 3, which is what we saw in our first match. But are they now going to be able to apply a bit of that pressure onto the players here from Goalie Gaming?
We'll have to see. Goalie Gaming, currently, that is a pretty strong compound. A lot of people love this compound, but it can be difficult to get out of, especially if there's a team holding them up to the north the way that this other team is. So, the 4, by the way, is. So they need to be a little bit careful. They're safe for now, though. I have a feeling that the 4 are going to be moving before Goalie is going to, and that'll give up a nice entry away from this current location. Just in and outside of zone.
And if we look at the positioning of these teams, we do see the players there from Team Chanekes up in towards those Georgia Bull crates, just holding off on those rotations, wanting to swoop in, I assume, probably as late as they possibly can. Meanwhile, we do see, that center zone is getting a little bit contested. We've got another team positioned up on towards the hills, on towards Everest itself. Oh, but meanwhile, the four are coming under fire as the shots from atop the hill find their way straight on through, and that, of course, is going to be the game changers.
Oh, it looked like the four tried holding somebody else out from the north, but they ended up getting held out by somebody from the north. Yeah, Game Changer's gonna go on ahead and get a knock. We heard them getting in vehicles, but I don't really see them moving. I guess they're not interested in making a push down there. Didn't quite see anybody else or the other members of the four, so they're just gonna continue rotating a little bit of a different way. And of course, there's a lot more fighting elsewhere. I can't even see another spot inside of this next zone that these guys could go on ahead and squeeze into, except maybe the very far eastern side towards Pachinki. But right now, where everybody's trying to come in from, it's not looking too good.
Yeah, and whichever way the zone swings, it is going to be challenging for them to try and secure a decent foothold as chopsticks. I've been wanting to see a chopstick zone for the longest time, and that it could maybe be on the tables. But of course, up north, it is going to be where the fighting will be at, as we have the players there from Team Chanekes now looking to move in. We still have the Game Changers alongside them. There's so many teams now looking to push and further forward, and this is going to be where things are going to get a little bit more bloody.
I do not disagree. I think this could potentially be the kill zone. So that means that right when this next zone closes and the pop happens, I mean, there's just going to be not enough space whatsoever for the amount of people that are still alive. Somehow they've crammed themselves the way that they are right now, but this cannot continue. So there we go. A lot of movement up here on the northern side. Oh no, our current first place team not looking too hot now, getting kind of caught out by the team coming out of this little compound to the northern side. So far, only one of them have gotten down. The rest of them playing this safely, correctly. A lot of smoke's being thrown out.
Yeah, definitely a good angle to come in from there. But of course, up comes the Game Changers now looking to get their own slice of the pie. They're not going to let that one slip away from them just yet. Golly Gaming is going to try and apply their own bit of pressure. Now that the zone is shifted up, they do realize the importance of looking to reposition, but they don't want to do it just yet. They want to try and get those suppressive shots in before committing to the rotations. Maybe we'll even see them looking to swing past our leading team there. And of course, the players here from Fortune Esports are also perched up in a really strong position just a little bit further to the south.
There we go. A lot of people now grabbing those vehicles. They know that they need to have something happen. Goalie, though, Mr. Lala, kind of alone for right now. The rest of his team, there we go, grabbing vehicles. They're on for a move. To where, though, is the main question. We'll have to wait and see, but I feel like there's no way that they're going to end up somewhere safe where they're not going to be getting into a fight. So I think it is inevitable that a fight is about to break out. Meanwhile, the last remaining members of the four trying to survive in a tiny little shack here, just shooting people off. They're outside zone, so they're going to have to also figure out a way inside this next zone. This is going to be a difficult one for the majority of people. The only one that doesn't look too concerned is, of course, the team right across RV, Rave Esports.
Yeah, Seth coming in with a beautiful shot with that M24. Now we see Sharan trying to get that raise right back on in, but up comes the Game Changers, continuing with their efforts to get back in towards zone. Rave Esports, meanwhile, are going to be perching themselves just within that eastern side, looking to just obliterate any of these opposing teams that could be looking to rotate up into the zone. With that, of course, Fortune Esports will get eliminated, and we are down to our 13 teams who are left to fight it out. And this is still going to be a very challenging zone to get a decent position. As you pointed out before, there's not a lot of options really for these teams to utilize.
Not at all. They have a big field that they can go ahead and frolic in. No, it does look like Game Changers. I like what they're doing here. They're not just going full on in, right? They're going to go on ahead and stop every once in a while, take a peek on in, see if anybody's in front of them. They're just waiting for that blue zone to absolutely force them inside at this point, because they know that everything in front should be pretty congested. So they're just going to try to stay alive in the safe spots for as long as possible before being forced to move.
Yeah, and this is where we're going to be seeing a lot more of that caution now coming on through as the teams don't want to find themselves too exposed just yet, but we're going to be seeing quite a bit of the fighting now as, some beautiful jump shots find their way straight on towards HQA. First, with that, Sunny is now forced to try and relocate, but he of course can't go too far. We've got so many opposing teams holding in the vicinity, so he needs to be very, very careful. And with this, of course, we see Leo lying in ambush, waiting to see if anyone's going to dare venture forth, and, well, of course, the four get eliminated as well.
I still can't believe how many people are actually right by each other. Like, just looking at that mini-map, we have 5 teams right there. Nobody's really stepping out of the compound and kind of looking around and making sure that nobody's coming close. Everybody's kind of just coexisting for right now, it seems, because this was supposed to be the kill zone. I mean, we saw like 3 teams be taken down, but still not as many as I was kind of expecting, even though, oh man, that does not look good. No Mercy has found themselves in a horrible situation.
But this is a very interesting play coming in here from Sunny. I mean, we did see Sunny find the beautiful line of sight on towards them, then just falling back quickly to get the reinforcements before taking the engagement. But now, as we look over on towards the western side, it is still looking to be a very difficult play. The game changes. Coldy now coming under fire as he's looking to make a bit of a stand. He is going up against the players there, of course, from the side of, no Mercy, and they are not showing any mercy just yet. They do have one of their players down, but that is not going to be stopping them.
Nope, still a lot of vehicle movement as well. Quite surprised people aren't just being ripped out of the vehicles, but down here on this other side, it might just happen. Here we go. Jaga from hometown gets the knock. There we go. Still alive, but very low HP. The flush comes through as well. Actually, I just think I saw a teammate hurt a teammate. That's a little bit confusing, but whoa, wait a second. Hometown just got absolutely bombarded with nades there. Did not want them to be close whatsoever. This zone is the absolute worst. Look at that. This is just half field.
Yeah, I think we called that kill zone just one zone too early, but now, as we can see, we are in the 5th phase. The blue zone is making its way forward, applying a lot of pressure onto the teams, as if the pressure coming in from the opposing teams wasn't enough. We now see Rave Esports finding a quick confirm. Ooh, but will they be able to continue with this momentum, looking to push even further forward? They do have one player down. We could maybe see that race come through, but we can say the very same coming in for the players here from HQA Club, as we see Sup Big getting taken right on down, and all the pressure now turns to the final 2 players for the team.
Uh-oh, they need to go ahead and stay alive. We can see where they are on that board for right now. They only got 1 kill so far, so if they can stay alive, get those placement points, participate in these endgame fights, they could potentially pick up so much more. So we'll have to wait and see. But having 2 left up is obviously not an ideal situation. There we go. Aurora, though, not going to go ahead and disappoint, gets a knock on a 1 at least. But there we go. Now they're just trying to run to safety before they run to another enemy. But no, he just ends up being caught out. Aurora goes down. The trade does not come through because his teammate was already gone.
Well, this is absolutely insane. There we go. That knocked player now looking to move in, just to get a little bit of that information passed along, as the blue zone now starts to move up even more so, approaching that 6th phase. We can see Akhtar now just coming in with a quick rotation, trying to make that final play, but it's not going to be enough, as we see Khan coming through with the elimination hit. Now the pressure turns to our final 9 teams to try and fight it out for that winner chicken dinner. Khan here for No Mercy. Ooh. Finding himself in a very difficult position. We got Thirst keeping a very watchful eye, and of course on the opposite end we got Club also positioned right there. So you were wanting to see that fight break out between HQA, both sides, Thirst and Club, and we could maybe see that happen.
Oh boy, I'm waiting in anticipation. I cannot wait for it to happen. We gotta know which is the better HQA. You know, that's just my opinion. So we'll wait and see. The restricting play area in 20 seconds. This next zone is even more horrible than I could have imagined. Decided to go all the way to the eastern side. At least over here on the west, there's some sort of ridges that people can still play and kind of like differentiate their playing areas. But over to the east, there is literally nothing. It is basically flat. There is no place to play. So all the fighting is going to happen on these edges right now before it starts moving.
Yep, and it is going to be a very bloody fight. But as we jump across towards that southern side, we can see the players here from Tel No One looking to move in. We got to aim just up ahead, but right alongside them, they do have another team also looking to adopt a very similar approach. We have the players there from the BU Generation Z pushing forward with that. Mr. Lala does pick up the confirm, gets a beautiful hit straight on through. But now, will he be able to make a continuation on that? As we can see, JP47 up ahead, looking to move in. Beautiful angle onto Zeus coming through there from Ayush, but unfortunately gets taken right on down. And now all the pressure is onto Viraj.
Wow, and it looks like Gully Gaming finally coming out of that little building there, just laying prone. They are able to crawl out of here, so they're kind of being sneaky. Looks like they got themselves a rock as well. I mean, I definitely wouldn't want to be on the southern side. I feel like the majority of them are just laying prone. There you go, being able to steal a couple of kills as well. This is kind of like the best situation for them so far. But I would not want to be in this field. Look at that, just so much damage from the bullets flying from the northern side and the nades ringing everywhere. It looks like BU Generation Z will be our next team eliminated. We're down to our last 4 teams in this very tiny circle.
Yeah, this could be a very good game for either Team Chanekas, Goli Gaming, or even Rave Esports, as they do have some pretty strong numbers making it up into the 6th phase and potentially moving forward into the 7th phase. So I think the attention is going to be turning over towards Tel No One, looking to see what they'll be able to do with only 2 remaining players. We've seen quite a bit of chaos come from teams having quite a few, just like 1 or 2 players remaining up in towards these late phases, but it is not going to be easy by any measure. The players here from Rave Esports, of course, have a controlling position up in towards the north as the zone bobs up, and it is in favor of them.
Yeah, they got themselves in a good situation. The only thing, though, is that I hope they're able to play it correctly and that they hold everybody else out and get those kills and not have the situation happen where they're the ones that are closest to the zone and everybody comes at the same time and just pinches them and they're taken out. It's really up to them how they want to go ahead and play this, but hopefully it's not going to be the latter. Hopefully it's the former and they figure out how to play it.
Yeah, Goldie, they seem to be in a fairly decent angle up on the higher ground, but they find themselves alongside Rave. Meanwhile, you're going to be looking onto Leo, who's not just looking to capitalize on that high ground. Ooh, there we go. Team Shanaka is up ahead. This is going to be Leo now, just looking to pick up any hits he can find. But with that, Tel No One now getting eliminated, and it is down to our final 3 teams looking to close it up. The shots are flying all over the place. Players there from Team Janaka sitting on 7 kills already as they take a position on the southern edge of zone. 1 knock comes through. It is now down to Mendez and Kodas to try and make this final stand for the side of Team Janaka. Maybe another winner chicken dinner.
Could potentially be so, especially if he's playing it as carefully as right now. The thing is, his teammate went down. Now it's a solo against an entire, we'll still call it a 4-man team, even though one of them is currently knocked. And of course, we know that there's a good amount of members from Rave Esports alive still too. There is 3, so we'll have to wait and see an entire 4-man. There's so many members up for the rest of these teams. There we go. Mendez going for a lot of damage right in front of him. Unfortunately, too much damage goes back into him, though. They go down. There's only 1 left up for our current top place team, so that means that Goalie and Rave should actually start making the push onto each other. There we go. They're actually eliminated.
Yeah, Goalie Gaming cleaning house, sitting on 10 kills. Now, they just need to finish up the final push with the players here of Rave Esports. You can see Seth now trying to tend to the wounded, looking to get the team back up into fighting format as it is now only Seth and Fernan. But will they be able to get the job done? This has been such a crazy play. The pressure just mounting even higher and higher. Up comes Zeus on that off angle. Does get taken on down. Will Seth be able to clutch it out though? Look at that. Finds the first hit on towards Mr. Lala, but it isn't going to be enough. Oh, up comes the first and down they go.
Could not put more ammo in the gun as fast as possible. That was a close one, though. Perfect nade, though, getting the re-knock onto the teammate. That was a really harsh situation to come out of, but Gully Gaming ends up taking that win. Well played, 12 kills and 1,753 damage. That was a good winner chicken dinner.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a cheeky play right there at the end, I gotta say. I mean, when dropping the weapon running in, fist blazing, trying to finish off the match in an absolutely, let's call it, challenging way, because it doesn't always work out all too well. That could maybe be a kill delivered on a silver platter, who knows. But fortunately for the players there from Goalie Gaming, it did work out in their favor. They were able to find those finishing blows, and with that, of course, take home their winner chicken dinner. Again, a very, very pleasing result coming in from these teams.
Exactly. Again, I'm a little bit surprised though. This week I feel like is completely different than last week. Last week it was just chaotic the entire time except for the very last Sanhok match. This time I feel like it has been visibly, oh so obviously slower. There hasn't been as many like chaotic, unsure what movements they're really going to do, or some plans that don't work too well. I think these guys are taking a little bit slower, and we can see that patience kind of coming through and really working for the majority of these teams.
Yeah, I have to agree. There's a lot more calculated play actually being utilized here. And I mean, yes, they're not skimping on the aggression whatsoever, but they don't just take every and any shot. There's a lot more thought you can see being put into those engagements, and I gotta say I appreciate that. It does, of course, again bring in some pretty interesting PUBG mobile action. But of course, speaking of interesting, we are going to be looking at those match results pretty soon to see where the teams are after the second match. And again, a very consistent performance coming in from the first match over onto the second.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look at that leaderboard and see where people are going to be stacking up this time from that match. Goalie Gaming with plus 27. Are we surprised? No, that is our current topmost points for a match of today. Of course, the last team from the first match, very, very close. Rave Esports with 15, though. There we go. Here's our team that got first last match, and currently in third with plus 17, and there's a lot more evened out numbers this time around than our very first match.
Yeah, I mean, definitely an improvement that we see come in, especially looking at where our top 5 teams have placed. It's good to see the players there from BU Generation Z also stepping up, bringing in a really good performance, being able to acquire 11 points in this last match. But also, I mean, AIM Esports, 9 points. That is also nothing to scoff at. That does really help in making quite a bit of an impact on that leaderboard.
I do not disagree, and we'll end up seeing that main leaderboard right about now as well. Of course, Team Shaneka is going to go ahead and continue to be in that first spot with 43, and a huge jump down to second with Goalie Gaming. Okay, maybe a little bit too much emphasis on the huge. That is a little bit more than 10 points, and I will say 10 points is definitely achievable in a single game, especially from what we've seen from these last 2 matches. So they could catch up with just one more match left on Sanhok. Then again, it goes back to being a little bit more even once more.
Yeah, I mean, definitely 12 points is not too much of a difference, and that is easily accomplished on a map, for instance, like Sanhok. But I'm going to be keeping a very watchful eye on the players coming in there from Fortune Esports, AIM Esports, as well as the BU Generation Z, and of course the players there from Hometown. There's not a lot really separating these 4 teams, so you could also even say the same as we move further down that leaderboard. So definitely from 6th position all the way to, for instance, the players there of Team Supreme. You know, one strong match could definitely see, especially that section, changing up quite a considerable bit. And who knows, they might even be able to contend against the likes of Telna One, Rave Esports, No Mercy, Goalie Gaming, and of course Team Chanekes. But that is what we'll have to wait and see what the final match has for us.
Yeah, and I cannot wait for it, because we already said it's going to be on Sanhok. That's usually the map where the most aggression is. Last week, players ended up kind of proving us wrong, unfortunately, but this time, maybe we have the correct lobby for this. This one isn't weird. This one, we're going to have a nice, aggressive Sanhok. I can feel it in my bones, so I'm looking forward to that. I want to see some more team fights and team chain fighting. We already got to see a good amount of showing from that from both Miramar and Erangel, but Sanhok, that's where it shines.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue. When you say you feel it in your bones, you know, I trust you, I believe you, and I sincerely hope that that is what's going to happen. I mean, it hasn't been wrong yet, so, you know, who am I to argue? So, of course, we are going to be looking to see what that will bring, but we also have to have a bit of a look at our MVPs to see who our MVP team is coming in at the back of this match. And of course, it will be none other than Team Chanekes. This is a good change-up. They've been already doing so much work these first two games.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to find themselves up on this board once again, but in a different way. 2,783 damage, going to convert into 18 kills, 12 assists, and look at that, a grenade kill! I needed to see that. It has gone from 0 to 1, and that is all I asked for. Again, a ton of damage. That's insane. Converting to 18 kills, that's also nothing too shabby. A good amount of kills and damage. The assists also in the same number, so Team Chaneka is not surprised to see them in the MVP position. We keep seeing a lot of them. I have a feeling this is a team we're going to watch in this last match and for the rest of the games tomorrow.
Yeah, they've been showing some pretty strong consistency. And of course, now we just get a little bit of a comparison coming in for the players here from Goalie Gaming, the team who took the chicken. And we are looking at how Team HQA first are measuring up against them. Of course, this is the one of the HQA teams that was able to score the most points in that last match. I mean, Thirst scored 7, Club scored 4, so I don't know if that is a distinct answer to your question you posed earlier.
I mean, potentially, but we'll have to wait and see. You know, I'm curious to see now how the rest of these teams are going to be able to take now what they've learned from these first couple of matches and change what they're going to go through in these next couple. You know what I mean? Like, they have the opportunity to go on ahead and change up what they've been doing. We can see here two teams that are obviously having a very, very different time out there. I mean, HQA Thirst honestly doesn't have too low of damage compared to Goalie Gaming, but it's just not showing through with their kills and their assists. So HQA might need to change up something really quickly.
Yeah, just looking to up that conversion rate. And of course, this is the difference between sitting in second place currently on the leaderboard and sitting all the way over in towards 11th place. So again, as you pointed out, there's not a lot of difference with regards to the amount of damage being dealt. Definitely, you know, they need to shift a little bit more focus onto the amount of kills they are able to convert from all that damage. So yeah, I have to agree 100%, Span. You are correct in saying that. But, you know, we look to see what the teams are going to be bringing in. As you said, we are moving over on towards Sanhok to see how aggressive these teams will be able to get and who's going to be the one to clutch it out, to reign supreme and take home that winner chicken dinner. So I think without much further ado, we are going to be jumping into a quick break to see, well, you know, just to prep up and get everything ready before jumping into our last match of the day. Hello and welcome back to the campus series. My name is DK. With me is Span Kogo. I remembered my name this time, Span, but of course we are getting ready to move into our final match of the day. We've already been seeing quite a bit of strong showing from the teams. Not as aggressive as we had in that first week, but as we were talking about before the break, the teams are playing a lot more of that calculated, a lot more of the strategic approach coming into these matches. And now, as we get ready to jump into a bit of that Sanhok action, I'm curious to see how these teams are going to approach this map.
I'm looking forward to it as well. We already said, are they going to be a little bit more aggressive than the other ones? But we will see. There we go. Sanhok, our last map of today. Of course, that is not the end of watching these teams after this one. We will be seeing them compete on week 2, day 2 as well. So we just have to go on ahead and wait for that. Otherwise, oh, there we go. Sanhok appears on our screen. And it looks like our game is about to start. And I kind of want to see a little bit of a shakeup. I kind of want to see these teams do something a little bit different. Now that they've had 2 matches, I want to start seeing some of these teams a little bit lower on the leaderboard do well.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I mean, this is as good as map as any to step up and look to push yourself up that leaderboard. And let's hope maybe that bone tingling is going to pay off as the teams get ready to jump. We've got a fairly decent flight path, but as we know, on Sanhok, the flight path doesn't matter all too much. What's more important is to see where that first initial zone is going to be dropping and where the teams are going to be rotating, and also where they're going to be starting it off, because again, we see a few teams moving off in similar directions.
Not surprised, honestly. Also, you know how Pachinki wasn't utilized on our Erangel map? It looks like it's going to be the same with Painan for Sanhok, which is quite surprising. Usually you see at least 2 teams be going there. Kind of looks like Bootcamp might be having the same thing happen to them as well. And wait a second, do you see that green member just hovering above Bootcamp? The other members, 2 went all the way to Camp Alpha and one's up above Paradise Resort. What are y'all doing?
Trying to mix it up. I mean, they're doing exactly what you asked. You said mix it up. That is what they did, and we see Spring now springing into action over in towards Bootcamp, completely isolated with that zone, heading over on towards that western side, and already a big chunk of that being water. So, well, the game definitely is not disappointing with how this match itself is starting. But of course, up in Hatin, we've got a little bit of a congestion there, as well as over towards Lakawi on that eastern side.
Just a little bit, just 2 teams in each locations. The thing is, at least the one over on the eastern side, if they get in a fight, I don't really see anybody else really getting there in time to pester them or third party them. Meanwhile, the Hot Tin fight, there's quite a few teams. One right down to the south, one right across the water to the east that could potentially start getting involved on top of them, and that would not be an ideal situation, especially because they have to go on ahead and move actually into this zone. But we'll see, because it looks like HQA Club is deciding not to go ahead and leave the team right above them alone, which is Desi Conquerors.
Yeah, so the pressure is going to be on, though. I mean, this is going to be a slight bit of a fight here for control of Hatin. But I mean, already, you know, we've been seeing those calculated plays come in. The team's positioned already over towards the western side. They don't have too much to worry about just yet. And of course, we also don't have so many teams positioned over on towards the eastern side. I do expect a little bit of chaos erupting up towards that northern bridge, leading up in towards Hatin. But maybe we could see the teams potentially rotating down towards Bootcamp instead of trying to cross over that bridge.
We'll have to wait and see. I would probably assume that the majority of them would want to stay on the mainland to get further down to the southern side. But like I said, we'll have to wait and see. Especially, I just really want to know what that team that's really split up is doing, to be honest. There's a singular person in boot camp right now. But oh, there we go. The first knock comes through. Sophie going to go on ahead and get a knock onto Brar right there. Holding her breath, waiting for this to happen. And finally has HQA Club now trying to really get the push so that they can continue this advantage with their first blood.
Well, yeah, there we go. It is signed, sealed, delivered, but now it is up to Club to push in to get that clean sweep on it towards the players up ahead, just looking to find those angles. But it's quite interesting because we've actually seen the players here from Desi Conquerors. They've been in a lot of fights starting all the way over on that first match, moving into the second one. So they've been able to continuously find themselves in these challenging positions. And now, again, over on Sanhok, but already losing a few of their players. The pressure is going to be on a sub big. Now moves forward. Oh, out comes the Tommy guns. The first hit comes in. Beautiful trade all coming in there.
I was a little bit worried they weren't looking the same direction, but here we go. A bunch of trades coming through. You're right, 2 and 2. Both go down. The rest of them putting away their gun. They're actually sprinting to try and help out. At this point, though, Res is coming through already for HQA Club. There we go. Another one's going to go on ahead and be picked up. Desi Conqueror is not on the same level, though. And, oh, it looks like they're trying to go on ahead and start getting the flushes as well. Aurora. Yeah, there we go. Confirming them for now.
Oh, this is a pretty good start for the players here of HQA Club. We can't say the same just yet for the team of Desi Conquerors, but who knows, maybe we could still see that one-man clutch come through. No, it is not going to happen with that, of course. Aurora sends Desi Conquerors right back up in towards the lobby. Now, as we jump over towards the players here from Hometown, we can see them just scanning those hilltops, looking to see if they can make any plays coming in from that northern side. Just looking to disengage now. They were in pretty close proximity to Hatin, of course. Supreme also now coming under fire as the players here from the side of the BU Generation Z come swooping in. But again, a good trade-off between both teams.
Definitely a good start to the fight that they have to go on ahead and continue. There he goes to Twisted. Gonna go on ahead and get a knock and a flush onto Shadow. The rest of Supreme gonna start making a big move up on top of this hill, by the way, above BU. This is on the mainland towards the southeastern side. This is a good place to be. If they need to get over towards the west a little bit more, they could just use the southern bridge, and not too many people usually utilize that. So staying down here could be good for them as long as they're able to take stock and start to control the people around them in the way that they want, such as getting around BU right now for Team Supreme.
Yeah, but it's also a very interesting disengage coming in there from BU, as we can see them now just looking to move a little bit further up in towards the zone, but also at the same time not 100% really committing to that rotation just yet. They are aware of the threat coming in from Team Supreme, so I'm curious to see whether or not BU Generation Z is going to look to set up a bit of a gatekeep, waiting for the players there from Supreme to venture in towards that zone before striking down. And of course already Ayush is just hopping in with a little bit of excitement, getting behind that rock, and we can see the players there from Team Supreme slowly but steadily on the approach.
There you go, BU Generation Z. They're going to take it a little bit more careful. Going to lay prone, wait to hear any enemies that are going to be walking by. On the complete opposite side, VTG just jumping in vehicles, and they're absolutely sending it across the land. Oh no! Gen Charge is going to unfortunately be ripped off the back of the buggy. This is the danger of actually using vehicles on Sanhok. Usually you don't see too many be used, because if you drive by anybody, you're usually taken out immediately. And the chances of driving by somebody is just so much higher just from how small this map is. There we go, though. The next zone will pop, kind of staying over all three main bodies of Sanhok once again, but mostly down to the one on the southwestern side. A lot of teams nowhere close to this zone.
And of course, it is always quite interesting when that trifecta really comes up in it to play. We can see the players there from No Mercy positioned up on towards that northwestern island, just positioned on the coast side there. And further down south, I mean, there's a very easy position actually coming in for the players there from the fours. They've dropped all the way down up in towards Sami. No one really looking to contest them in that current position. But now we look to see what No Mercy will be able to do as they head a little bit closer to that crossing point. Curious to see if they're going to try and potentially move up on towards the main portion of the island here, or are they just going to hang around over on this coastal line for the time being, looking to see where any of the opposing teams could potentially be rotating up into, maybe rotating right towards them.
I was going to say, honestly, I wouldn't blame them if they decided to stay at this little warehouse here, but it looks like they're going to go on ahead and do the move that they know that they're going to have to do eventually, which is just going ahead and swim down to the land right across the water. I'm actually kind of surprised they decided to go for the swim, but I guess they wanted to be a little bit more sneaky and conspicuous, you know? And meanwhile, VTG, once again, getting in the vehicle, Creeper goes down. VTGs, just take away their driver's license, take their keys, they're no longer allowed to drive, just stop.
Yeah, I mean, that is a little bit of a oof right there. I mean, we saw a very split play coming in from them over on towards Erangel as well, and it seems like it's kind of their thing as they've now adopted the exact same kind of approach, moving up on towards Sanhok. Of course, the players here from Rave Esports having a little bit of difficulty navigating the obstacles up ahead of them, having a little bit of a stop and go. But we got Rayo just hopping into the vehicle as he continues to push even further forward. But actually, we see the team there from AIM. They've also now rotated along that southern side, coming in behind the fort in towards Sami.
Yeah, a lot of people now down to the southern side. Still the majority to the north, though. This is a little bit interesting in that we still have no idea where this next zone is going to go. At least everybody right now is kind of chilling out and not having to worry about too much, except that ruins area. We can see more people actually coming across that bridge right now, and they're not going to stay there. So are they going to be running into people, or are they just going to go to ruins and be peaceful? That's kind of what we're curious about right now, because they don't really know too much about the zone over here just yet, because they just got here. They just drove over that bridge, and it looks like they're kind of going towards the directions, of their little teal team over there to the east. West, I mean. Excuse me. Directions. You forget your name, and I forget my directions, you know?
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, it happens to all of us. We are going to be looking at the players here now from Hopetown as we see them just looking to top up a little bit of that loot, but they have to be still pretty cautious. We can see No Mercy is positioned up towards the north of them, so it's not going to be an easy push just yet. We, of course, have them all the way up on towards that western side as well, fairly close towards ruins. And who knows, maybe someone could be looking to step up and ruin their day.
Ha, I see what you attempted to do there, but yeah, you know, I would assume so. Nobody really likes to play ruins, I will point out, so that's why we're seeing everybody trying to kind of play around it. It's really difficult to play in there. It's so out in the open that if you try to move anywhere outside of it, it's basically not possible, so that's why so many people are trying to avoid it. And this next zone is going to go on ahead and pop, and we're going to see where we're going to end up having to go next. It clearly did not go over here on this northern side of this zone, though, since these guys are obviously not inside of it. Even down here, Camp Charlie, not even inside the zone. So where does it have to go? I assume it went a hard shift or something down to the southwestern side. We'll see, though, as the fight is actually popping off.
Yeah, up comes COVID-21 as he's now looking to rotate around onto the Mavericks, of course. Ooh, can't really get into good position as we have the players here from Goalie Gaming position right behind up in towards Painan. So that's not even Painan, that is just up in towards that trifecta coastline region. But we have a few rotations now heading further back in towards the zone. A lot of fighting is going to be erupting, especially over on towards that eastern side, just on the outskirts there of Camp Charlie. But now we see Lucifer here from No Mercy just looking to sneak around, seeing if he can find that angle on towards the Mavericks. I mean, the Mavericks, they've been showing some good potential. Things haven't been working out too favorably for them, but definitely been showing some pretty good plays, though. Ooh, look at the shots from Lucy, though.
Yeah, well, we just have to look at the damage already. 1,058 damage and 7 kills. That is absolutely insane coming in from Lucifer, so we'll have to see. No Mercy. They're living up to their names. They're just going to continue on to push. They got a knock. They want to go on ahead and clean up the rest, and they're going to do so, especially since they're just near the zone. So they have the ability to go on ahead and participate in this fight for as long as they want until the next team is eliminated.
Yeah, this is definitely a really strong point coming in for the players here of No Mercy. I mean, we do see the reinforcements now joining up here with Lucy as they get ready to push. We got Gun already up close and personal, sneaking in behind Aya. And with that, finding the devastating blow on it towards the Mavericks. We are finally down to 15 teams. We've lost our first team as we get ready to move into our third phase and now heading up into the fourth.
That is very true. Sanhok still, I guess, just being the perfect map to somehow avoid people. What it is, though, is that we have seen people be taken out. So it's really just a bunch of teams are still somehow able to just hold on, continue playing. Even though there's still 15 teams up, a lot of solos and duos out there for now.
I mean, those stragglers, those are definitely going to be quite a bit of a thorn in the side for a lot of these teams. But yeah, I mean, the teams have been showing some pretty good, call it, I don't know, resistance. No, not really that, but whatever. You know, they're pretty stubborn. They don't like, you can shoot some of my teammates down, that's fine. But I am not going to be the one to fall just yet. And with that, we can see the plays here from Supreme being one of those teams. They've been reduced down to only one remaining. Hopefully, it is now going to be QT. But with that, the blue zone is going to come swooping in. And the game changers are now going to have to shoot and run all at the same time.
Uh-oh, and Supreme, the last one up for Supreme, seems to now be caught alone. Game Changers going for the damage. The nade being tossed out will actually do some damage to QT. QT knows exactly where they are. There we go. The push through comes out and Russell down, about to be flushed out. Game Changers, they weren't together. I'm so surprised. And he just goes for the flush. He knew that he wasn't going to be able to survive that, so he just wanted the points. Unfortunate situation coming through from Game Changers, but now at least they got the kill and the down up for the other team, and they have to get in zone.
Yeah, and that is going to be the situation for a lot of these teams. You can see the plays here now from a BU Generation Z just looking to come swooping into zone. Up ahead, of course, is going to be the side of Goalie Gaming, keeping a very watchful eye on the zone before committing to that push to get back in. They find themselves right here on the edge. Up ahead, of course, is going to be the players there from No Mercy. Tell No One coming in, swinging in the kill feed, of course. And with that, VTG down to one. Fortune Esports sitting on one player as well. And I mean, the rest of the lobby is still looking pretty decent with these numbers, though.
I believe VTG, 14 Esports, both of those solos are at least going to get one singular kill. At least one. So right now, those zeros, no, it's not acceptable. They have to stay alive until they get at least one kill, I believe. Solos are actually, I'm not going to lie, like, they're scary. Like, I'm not even trying to joke right now. Solos have the opportunity to go ahead and completely mess up an entire game for a team. It does look like Rave will unfortunately go down out of this match for now. So that means we're back down to 12:35 alive, and still some teams with unfriendly neighbors.
Yeah, a lot of unfriendly neighbors scattered all throughout. I mean, this is definitely not a kind of place you want to live, because everyone you see nearby is going to try and take a swing at you. They are going to be shooting at you. But of course, now AIM are going to be taking aim as they look to push in from the southern side. Up ahead, we see Tell No One. Zohan now getting pressurized. Is getting rushed here by the 4. Up comes Blame, and with that, down goes Zohan. It is now turning it towards Horse MIT to look to hold on his position up in the watchtower. And with that, of course, Kalji is looking to push in once more. Cooking up the nade. Is going to be able to find enough damage to alleviate a little bit of the pressure coming in from AIM now.
Ooh, nice throw. Got another knock and a fade. Almost got the knock and a villain as well. But let's see now. Horse continue to try and toss over a bunch of bullets. I wouldn't be surprised if he even attempted to try and push off of this as a solo, because why not? But it looks like he's just going to continue to be patient, especially because Fate actually just went ahead and got res. So the window of opportunity now closed. And wait a second. I see a little bit of a purple figure over there on the far eastern side. Looks like the 4 might get involved if they really want to with this fight up here.
Yeah, they definitely are in a position where they can apply a little bit of pressure, just come in with those third-party swings, but now Villain does take a little bit of damage. You can see Kill G trying to send those nades up, doesn't find anybody, is getting picked off by the side there off the 4. As the shots come through, UV does find the knock. Horse MIT now feeling the pressure as AIM are getting ready to push even further forward. The zone, of course, has shifted up once again, so this does impact the play and the potential angles these teams can take for the time being. Fate just up ahead, just hugging those rocks, but now having to deal with a very difficult position. You got the 4 on the one side, and then, of course, you got Horse MIT on the other.
Very true. So Horse MIT, the zone now still far away. They're going to have to figure out a way to move soon, though. Horse MIT, though, as a solo, I have a feeling they're probably just going to stay there, wait for AIM Esports to just move out of their high E hole, so that Horse going to try to get some more kills before this play area is fully restricted. Meanwhile, though, looks like they're not really willing to move just yet. Game Changers now coming in on the southern side. One goes down, just leaving one left, and it's actually BU. Generation Z that are up right above them. They're currently in that compound at the very, very top of the hill that's honestly really hard to walk up on unless you come from the east, and the east right now is completely blocked off, so they're in a good spot.
Ooh. Yep. With that, of course, the players from AIM get eliminated as the blue zone comes in swinging, really aiding in sending them right into the lobby. Of course, Horse MIT is going to try and make this push down the hill, but it's going to be a very exposed play here. Of course, we jump onto Hometown. A very similar approach coming in for them. They're trying to push through as the HQA club is positioned just up ahead. It is all now down to Bullshark. Try and hold on. But it is going to be a blue zone hill strat potentially being applied there by Bullshark as we are moving through our 6th phase, about to approach that 7th. Now you can see Lucy looking to make a bit of a play here for No Mercy. No Mercy already sitting on 7 kills. With that, Lucy gets taken right on down, and it turns to Khan and Bunny to try and close up the fight here with HQA.
I have to say, this next zone is actually pretty insane. There's like a tiny bit of it that has the rocks into ruins, like in the water inside of it. And that's kind of disgusting. I mean, teams can potentially play down there and just be hidden if they really want to. I mean, they probably won't win the game, but they'll definitely be safe and hidden for the longest of time. Obviously, the best place to be is up on top of the rocks where No Mercy currently is, trying to go ahead and take down one of the HQAs. A ton of fighting in the distance. So honestly, I feel like No Mercy might just have a big foothold on this next zone. Everybody else, though, starting to beeline it. The 4 making their moves. Got to be careful because the solo, as we can see, is still coming in, kind of straggling in from behind.
Yeah, a lot of stragglers scattered throughout the match here. Game changes. We got Hometown. Oh, down goes Mr. Lala now as Goalie Gaming comes under fire. They still have a really strong number of players making it all the way up in towards the 6th phase, and potentially that could be a trend we see continuing up in towards that 7th phase as well. But Raj gets taken right on down, and now it is up to Mario and Ayush to try and just hold the position behind the rocks. Of course, No Mercy are going to be looking to push forward. They've got quite a dominating position within the zone. With that, Blame gets taken right on down. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the match in which No Mercy takes the clutch.
Have to wait and see. I mean, the thing is that they have the entire zone, which is insane. They could took a knock on to Blame. We can see that everything in front of Lucifer here is actually very much out in the open. So even if people tried their hardest to get them out or take on No Mercy just has a lot of steps ahead of them. They already have the circle. They have the hard cover. Everybody else doesn't have any cover to be able to run up to them. So I have a feeling everybody is not going to really come out of this unless they get really good shots onto members from No Mercy. We see those long-range knocks, just like how Ayush is currently doing that to the team coming out of this compound. Gotta go ahead and do that to No Mercy.
Yeah, Goalie Gaming finding themselves in a difficult position, but as is the players here from BU Generation Z, as they are now forced to rotate forward, looking to make their way back up in towards zone. Leo coming through with a beautiful spray down right on towards Ayush, but now Mario is also caught in a very difficult position, having to try and make that play, but it's not going to be enough as Coldy comes in with those finishing blows. Oh, Leo takes a bit of damage thanks to the blue. Goldie right behind him. Esther's going to be the play to make. Oh, he needs to focus on getting a securely set up play. But No Mercy. Span, they are so beautifully set up in the zone.
Yeah, I mean, they are. I don't even know if they can be overtaken. I already said it was going to be pretty difficult even before this next one closed. And we can see 2 teams basically going for the heal strat right now. Goalie Gaming at least has 1 still inside of the zone, so they have a little longer to go, except for the fact that they have 2 bandages for meds, and that's about it. So that's a little bit of an unfortunate reality for Leo here. Just cannot really get into many fights as they start using those bandages. I think that's a good idea. And after he goes out, I mean, there's just going to be Coldy from Game Changers in the blue zone that's not going to survive for too long. UV, one of the members from the 4, and then, of course, the last 3 up for No Mercy. It's not looking too good. There you go. Coldy actually goes down. Leo gets him.
Yeah, and this is a typical Sanhok fashion, as we can see a lot of teams now looking to apply those blue zone heal strats with that beautiful spray down coming in from Khan as he steps forward and just reducing the teams down to our final four. With that, Leo also gets sent right on away. Well, rather gets knocked out. Oh, but up comes the hit on towards the 4 as UV gets knocked right on down. Is it going to be the finishing blow? Fortunately for the 4, they still have few more players to go. Of course, VTG, Spring, still holding on. We saw the rest of the team getting sent back into the lobby in the very early game. But with that, of course, No Mercy have now been able to rake in 14 kills.
And now they just have to chill out because the next person is out of there. Goalie, goes on ahead and gets taken down. And it's just revenge. Revengey. The last one from the 4. A lot of shooting just into the air. Honestly, survived this long all the way out here inside of this blue zone is absolutely insane. This is the last first aid kit, and they were able to secure 2nd place for their team. That is huge for the 4, but of course, wait a second, excuse me, 3rd place. It's actually VTG that got 2nd, but of course, No Mercy going on ahead and taking that 1st place. 2,206 damage and 14 kills. No Mercy really hit this Sanhok match big.
Yeah, they did indeed, and what a beautiful full circle play that is. We saw them taking that 2nd place in the first match, and now as they come back into the last one of the day, they're able to secure themselves a really strong finish, and I'm definitely sure that they'll be quite satisfied with how that then impacts the overall standings for this first day.
I would not be surprised whatsoever. We'll have to go ahead and take a look at what exactly everybody else got first, though. So taking a look at that leaderboard, No Mercy, 29 points. It looks like every single match just increased. Again, this is the most amount of points for the matches of today. And so it looks like we're going to end off big. VTG getting that 2nd place, somehow able to hold on in the blue zone for that long. 12 points and the 4 with 15. They ended up playing those matches really well. Meanwhile, Goalie Gaming Game Changers actually making it into the very end zone. They each get 13 points, which again, nothing too shabby. A huge jump off from there, though. Like, we see some 8, 7 points, 5 points, but that's about it after that.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a very impressive play coming in there from the players of HQA Club. Even though they were taken out in 10th place, they were still able to bring in a grand total of 8 points for this match. So that is definitely, it says something about their capabilities there. Even the players there from Team Supreme, yes, 14th place is not the most ideal position to be going out into, but of course, 5 points definitely, will do some good things when it comes to the overall leaderboard. And I think we'll be moving along towards our overall standings to see where the teams find themselves after this first day of gameplay. But again, No Mercy, absolutely beautiful stuff coming in. And now the drum roll is about to come in as No Mercy are able to jump up ahead of the players there from Goalie Gaming as well as Team Chanekes.
No Mercy, yeah, this last match was absolutely huge for them, so not surprised to see that whatsoever. I mean, 29 points is just disgusting, so that's why they ended up being able to make this jump. Of course, Goalie Gaming Team Tanaka is honestly not too far away. Like, that is still achievable in a singular game if they have an amazing game, and that's where the huge drop-off comes into play, though. From 3rd to 4th, Rave Esports with only 27, that's where the next big break is. So the top 3 right now, not untouchable, I will say, but definitely having a slight advantage that they're going to have coming into day 2. Everybody else below are going to have to work a tiny bit harder if they're hoping to try and overthrow them in those positions. Because reminder, these teams want to be in the top 10 by the end of the matches tomorrow, and that means that right now, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, they have to break that 4-way 15-point tie.
Yeah, that is definitely a very interesting play coming in there for them. But yeah, I have to agree with you. Of course, the team sitting up in the top end of that leaderboard, they're not 100% secured in those positions, but it is going to make tomorrow that much more easier for them to maintain a pretty strong footing on that leaderboard. So I'm curious to see what the teams a little bit further down are going to be able to do as we step into the next day of play and to see what these teams will have in store. But again, I got to say, some really satisfying PUBG action coming in once more.
I don't disagree. I kind of like as well that the teams from the first week, I feel like, played a little bit differently than the teams, at least for today. It creates an interesting dynamic. It makes me not be able to wait until I see those top 10 teams from both weeks going ahead and compete against each other. Again, though, getting a little bit ahead of myself because, again, day 2, we still have that left to go. 3 games on day 2 as well to see which of these top 10 teams are going to go on ahead and be able to meet with first week's top 10. So, looking forward to that.
Yeah, a lot can still change on that second day. But of course, speaking about changes, we need to see who our MVPs are at the end of this final match, which was the team that did the most so far for the day. We know, looking at our overall points, that we do have a little bit of a jump coming in from the players of No Mercy, moving up into pole position. But let's have a look and see who our top MVP team so far is, and it is of course going to be handed straight over towards No Mercy. No surprise. I mean, they've been able to find 30 kills so far, but look at the amount of damage that they've been able to bring in, Span.
Just absolutely insane. Yeah, 4,757. That is a good amount of damage for those 30 kills. And of course, they get the singular grenade and 9 assists. I mean, we've seen higher numbers in both of those categories, but just 30 is nothing to scoff out. In 3 matches, that means they had to have gotten at like an average 10 kills per match. That is disgusting for a team to be able to go on ahead and obtain. That's just really good. So it seems like No Mercy pretty consistent in that regard.
Yeah, and of course they were also able to find 1 grenade kill. All right, so at least, you know, you were asking again for that 0 to be changed to any other number, and you know they delivered. So
acceptable.
Yeah, well done to No Mercy, having No Mercy. Also, No Mercy with the grenades. But as we move on, we got a little bit of a breakdown here to look at the performance coming in from Lucifer, who we've been seeing being quite active so far today. I mean, he's brought in half the kills for the team.
Yeah, 15 out of the 30 kills. That's pretty insane. 2,096 damage just by themselves as well. That's an insane number difference. I'm not gonna lie, because that's also basically half the damage that they have. Almost. Their overall damage was 4,700, but grenade also came from Lucifer, so no wonder this guy's the MVP for No Mercy. I approve of this. I'm very high. 1 assist as well, so clearly every single kill or down that this guy gets, it is purely theirs. 1 assist is also an insane stat for somebody like this.
Yeah, some really, really strong stats coming in there for the players of No Mercy. So I'm curious to see whether or not that will be reflective over on the second day of gameplay. As you know, consistency is what's key. If the teams are able to continue with that momentum across the board, we see them really bringing in some pretty strong performances, not only on the leaderboard, but also out on the battlefield itself. So yeah, we've got to give it to Lucifer, some pretty well done performances there. And yes, that is pretty high stakes. But of course, that is our games for today. All 3 of our matches have been concluded. We've seen the teams just stepping up to the plate, a few teams bringing in some surprise performances, and it was really good to see a little bit more of those calculated plays coming through, spread out through the entirety of our matches that we've had so far. So hopefully we'll see even more of that in day 2 as we continue once again with even more action, even more crazy PUBG. But hopefully we'll see the teams that are sitting on the not so nice side of the leaderboard potentially grabbing a few additional points, looking to just challenge those teams a little bit further up ahead of them.
I agree. I think we have a little bit of higher expectations going into day 2, I will say, because of how different it was. I am expecting people to go on ahead and take a look at what was done today, and maybe they'll be able to fix and figure out the hot dropping situations on Miramar and Erangel. And then tomorrow, the day 2 games are just going to be that much more interesting, difficult for everybody to watch, to play, and those top 10 teams, whoever's going to make it there, they're obviously going to go on ahead and deserve it. But of course, after that, we're done for tonight, y'all. We've played all 3 matches, so DK, you can go on ahead and do the honors.
Well, there we go, guys. I just want to thank all of you. Thank you so much for joining in, for watching us. We got to give a big shout out to the production team. You guys are amazing. The teams yourself, absolutely fantastic stuff. Looking forward to the next day of gameplay. Thank you so much for all the viewers. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. And be sure to join us back again as we continue with the second day PUBG Insanity right here on the Campus Series in North America. For now, stay safe and see you all back later.
We make choices, gamble on a dream. Heard the stakes are high, but still you bet on everything. All those voices tell you anything. Baby, you gon' hurt yourself if you keep listening. Inside it with you, inside it with you, inside it with you, but you don't follow through. Inside it with you, inside it with you, inside it with you, but you don't follow through. I've been through all the highs and lows and lows, and I've seen it all from time ago. I was hoping by now that you would know, to see yourself out, it's time to go, to go.
When I fell in love with you, but soon it was over. Yeah, I still have my feelings for you. Yeah, we were young. We had fun, but soon it was over. You were my only one. Yeah, you were my only one. Yeah, we had fun, but soon it was over. You were my only one. Yeah, you were my only one. It was pockets exploded when I fell in love with you, but soon it was over. Yeah, I still have my feelings for you. Yeah, we were young. You know that we had fun, but soon it was over. You were my only one. Yeah, you were my only one. Yeah, we had fun, but soon it was over. You were my only one. Yeah, you were my only one. You were my only one. But soon it was over.